Right then, welcome back everyone. I know you've all been counting down the seconds until the next instalment of the series, but wait no longer, your prayers have been answered. I come bearing video number 2. Today we're going to be talking about Hacksaw Ridge. Just in case you somehow haven't seen the first video, don't know what you're doing if you haven't, but I'm going to be ranking this film on 4 categories: plot, characters, cinematography and enjoyment, and I'll give my final thoughts at the end.
Apologies to all those triggered by the thumbnail, but you're here now, aren't you?
And so with all that being said, let's get into it. Hacksaw Ridge follows the incredible story of a man named Desmond Doss. Desmond Doss was the first ever conscientious objector to win the Medal of Honor. A conscientious objector basically means that, due to his religious beliefs, Desmond refused to bear arms or take a life. Clearly, this was an issue, as they were in wartime and he was a soldier. This was an extremely divisive topic at the time, as you can see. But as it turns out, and as you see during the events of the film, he ended up saving 75 lives during the battle depicted on screen, and became one of America's greatest war heroes.
The plot of the film chronicles Desmond's incredibly difficult journey to becoming a soldier. We initially learn about Desmond's troubling youth, where he almost killed his brother whilst play fighting,
Me fuck your brother.
which we see is the real root of his hatred for violence. Additionally, we see his father,
Mr. Anderson.
no, Mr. Doss, played by Hugo Weaving, who's a veteran and an alcoholic, and who regularly beats Desmond and his brother, which only compounds this hatred. We see from early on Desmond's selflessness and desire to help others, as the first shots we see of him as an adult are him working in the church helping to fix the windows, and then helping a man whose leg had been injured. However, as was the way at the time, Desmond had to enlist for the army. From this point on, the film really starts to find itself. What follows are the training camp scenes. Now you can't tell me Vince Vaughn didn't make you laugh at least once during his initial meeting with the recruits. I don't know how he managed to keep a straight face through the whole thing, to be honest. My favourite lines have got to be,
How long have you been dead, son? Sir?
and
Corporal! Sergeant. Make sure you keep this man away from strong winds. Yes, Sergeant.
I never thought I'd see Vince Vaughn as anyone except Peter LaFleur, but he absolutely nails his performance. It's such an underrated scene. This light-hearted theme doesn't continue, however, as when the other recruits find out Desmond refuses to kill, they brutalise him and try to make him quit, but Desmond doesn't give up. This scene
I sleep pretty hard.
is a real turning point in the film, as we get a first glimpse of just how courageous Desmond really is. Just look at the way the other recruits look at each other when they see that Desmond won't rat them out. They know they're f***ed up. Even the army higher-ups try every dirty trick in the book to try and get him discharged, simply because he won't kill. The way Desmond is treated really is appalling. I was shocked when I watched this for the first time, and I'm sure some of you were too. They court-martial him, imprison him, and he only narrowly avoids being discharged due to a last gasp save from his father. However, this scene does provide an emotional and almost heartwarming conclusion to Desmond and his father's story arc, as Desmond's father puts aside his anger and hatred in order to help his son. At the end of all of this, though, he is finally granted entry into the army and is allowed to fight. And now we've reached the battle scenes. These are the parts everyone thinks of when you mention Hacksaw Ridge. I don't want to go into too much detail about them, as my words would never do them justice. You just simply have to watch them for yourself. What Desmond does on that ridge is just indescribable. Now, the absolute best scene in the entire film, and I know you're all thinking about it, and are saying the line in your head.
One more. Help me get one more.
This is the scene where Andrew Garfield really earned that Oscar nomination. The combination of the score, the action, the emotion, the editing, it's just perfection. I haven't watched a more impactful piece of film in a long time. Now, this isn't to say that the other scenes are bad by any stretch of the imagination. Quite the opposite, in fact. You go from not being able to believe your eyes one second to not being able to watch the next. I've been watching this film with people who physically cannot sit still during the scenes Desmond's going through the Japanese caves, as they can't bear to watch, just in case there's a Japanese soldier waiting around the corner. The way the camera waits until the last moment to go around the corner too to reveal what's there is so clever. The tension is almost unbearable. I just want to highlight as well the part where Desmond gives one of his morphines to the injured Japanese soldier. I mean, that is true heroism, isn't it? He doesn't care about the conflict, all he cares about is the preservation of life. It's not only the suspense that's brilliant, but the emotional scenes are too. The scenes where the captain, played by Sam Worthington, apologises to Desmond for how he treated him.
You've done more than any other man could have done in the service of his country. And I've never been more wrong about someone in my life. I hope one day you can forgive me.
And the scene where all the soldiers wait at the bottom of the ridge and won't go up until Desmond has finished praying give me goosebumps every time. The clips of the real Desmond Doss at the end of the film just put the icing on the cake for me, as it proves that he really did do all these things and that they really did happen. I just want to briefly touch on some of the characters too. Of course, starting off with Handsome Andrew, his performance is stunning. I mean, he even held his jaw in a different position the entire film to be more like Desmond. I truly believe he deserved the Oscar for Best Actor in 2016. The only reason they gave it to Leo was because they saw he climbed into a dead horse in The Revenant and thought, F me, what's he going to do next? Amputate one of his limbs to give a more accurate portrayal of a wounded veteran or something. As I previously said, Vince Vaughn is excellent, and Sam Worthington, who again I had typecast as Jake from Avatar, does an excellent job of making you hate him in this film. This for me is the best war film of all time, better than Saving Private Ryan. If you disagree with me, please feel free to suck your mum. I honestly can't fault this film. And so the scores on the doors are: plot, I'm going to give a 4.6 out of 5. Characters, a 4.5 out of 5. Cinematography, a 4.6 out of 5. And enjoyment, it has to be 5 out of 5. If you haven't seen this film, please do. You won't regret it. And there we have it. That's the end of the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you've disagreed with me at any point, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Also leave a comment saying which film you'd like me to talk about next. Remember to subscribe, and see you in the next video.